name is Selena, and it is Wednesday, so that means Top 5 Wednesday, and today's Top 5 is Top 5 books that I would recommend to a new reader. So in coming up with books to recommend, it's always kind of hard. You always want to try to tailor a recommendation to the person that you're recommending, but these are just very general recommendations for people who aren't used to reading, or who maybe are trying to get into a new genre, or young people who are trying to branch out into other types of reading, adult novels and things like that. So I look particularly for books that sold well. That's one criteria I had, because if it sold well, then that means probably many people liked it. And also books that kind of had the test of time, but without becoming dated. So I don't have any classics in my top 5, but I do have books that have been out for a number of years and therefore are older and have proven that they can keep, they can carry the weight of a bestseller. Anyway, enough said. Book 5 that I would recommend to a new reader would be Sophie Kinsella's Can You Keep a Secret? This would be for someone who liked reading maybe Babysitter Club books, or a young girl maybe who remember liking Judy Blume books or something like that as a young child, or Junie B. Jones, but is interested now as a young adult or an adult reading something a little more sophisticated. I would say Can You Keep a Secret? This would also be a good book recommendation for someone who likes maybe, reality TV shows, Bachelor, Dancing with the Stars, something like that. I try to find out what type of TV shows or movies usually when I recommend a book that the person likes, because then I can try to find a book that would fit in with that genre. So someone who likes reality TV, I think this would be a good book for that person as well. The book is about a career woman who is in her mid-20s, and she is trying to prove herself in her job and with her family. She finds herself on a plane at the beginning of the book, heading towards a meeting, and on the way back the plane just kind of hits some turbulence, but she panics and she spills her guts to the person sitting in the seat next to her on the plane. But that person is going to come back to haunt her, and lo and behold, it is the CEO, the man in charge of the company that she works for, and now he knows all her little secrets, and there starts the story. So this is a very fun, loving, just good time kind of book. For number 4, I have Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. This would be probably one of the newer books that I have on this list, but I picked it because it's such a great tale. It's adventurous, but it doesn't tie, even though it has bookstore in the title, it doesn't necessarily need to be read by someone who likes books. This deals with technology. Google plays a huge part in this. There's lots of Dungeons and Dragons kind of references to in this book as well. So people who, I would say, are closeted nerds, maybe not technically readers, but gamers. This would be good for like your old high school D&D friends, the people who were in maybe the digital club, or the camera club or something like that, who found technology and science is very interesting. I think this would be a fun book for them. It deals with a man who is struggling in his career and couldn't find a job as a graphic designer, working at a bookstore. And when he works in this bookstore, he comes upon a lot of mysterious characters doing very mysterious things, and so he starts to investigate, and he brings along his friends along on the adventure, and there you have it. Number 3 would be the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. This is a historical fiction novel. It's an epistolary novel, so it's written in letters about this small community, this small island community during World War II, and the secrets and the lives that they lead while being occupied by Nazi Germany. And it's touching, it's heartwarming. There are some love relationships. There are familiar relationships. There are things that will surprise you in this book. I just think it's a very touching, heartwarming kind of read. So I would say I would recommend this book to someone who likes maybe TLC or the Hallmark Channel, or maybe people who like those Lifetime movies. I think this would be a good read for someone like that. 2 on my list is going to be Ernest Cline's Ready Player One. Again, this book deals a lot with technology, but I think even more so than Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore. This is all about technology and the internet and gaming and all that stuff. So obviously people who are interested in those sorts of things, this book would be right up their alley. Also, this has many references to the 80s, so if you know someone who's very retro or an 80s baby like myself, I had so much fun reading this. I was like, oh my gosh, I remember that. I would recommend this for someone who likes a quick read. It's not a huge book, nor is it a very thin book, but it isn't a fast-paced, quick read. It's very adventurous. While the characters are lovable and likable, there's nothing too complex in the storyline to trip a new reader up. I think this is a great gateway book into science fiction and dystopian. This is also a book that reads very much like a movie. So if I would find out if a person likes Elysium or something along those lines, then they would probably like to read Ready Player One. I don't know. Who liked Elysium? I don't know. I saw it, but it was whatever. For my number 1 pick, I have a memoir. So this would be my only non-fiction book in my top 5, and it is Blue Like Jazz. And again, this was a bestseller for a number of years. Blue Like Jazz by Donald Miller. It was also turned into a movie, an indie project that he spearheaded and produced, and wrote and produced actually. It's very David Sedaris-esque, but this book follows Donald Miller and his experiences in Reed College and being a Christian or someone of faith in a very openly secular community, and just the relationships, the people that he meets, some of the confrontations, how is he able to handle, think two opposing ideas colliding, his spirituality and the culture of Reed College. I like the fact that this book, while a lot of people when they think of spirituality or books that deal with spirituality, they think of something that's going to condemn. But there's no condemning in here. It was eye-opening just to see, someone who coming from a very, very different background, just being open and embracing a culture that's unlike his own, and just wanting to know and wanting to learn about how, I guess, the other half lives, or how another group of people live. If you are someone who is into like PBS and PR kind of things, I would say picking up Blue Like Jazz. I would also say if you're someone who likes to read, other types of nonfiction like newspapers or magazines, this is a very quick read. His segments are very, very short. It's written in a vignette style, so you finish one story and you're done. And that makes the book seem to go by pretty quickly, although there are themes that bring and tie in all of the vignettes together. You can read each story on its own as its own separate piece. So there you go. Those are my top 5 books that I would recommend to new readers. Let me know if any of the books that I showed will be on your list, or if you have a totally different set of top 5 books. What are some criteria you use when recommending books to someone? Like I said, I like to see what type of movie or TV shows that someone likes, and then I'll fit a book in with that I think will go well with that. But what are some criteria you use to recommend books to others? Let me know in the comments down below. Find me on Goodreads, Twitter. I would love to keep the conversation going with you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.